good moments from them. There were some fight back moments. I think the biggest
Oh
thing that I
yeah.
look for is when you do see a team that's, from behind. What are they doing proactively to be able to work themselves out of the hole that they've put themselves in, or have found themselves into, might be a better way to put it. And we did see them at least try and find some attempts, but it was so difficult because Ken V was just so far ahead, and Panda, in a point, in a spot where he was just so far behind that he almost had nothing to be able to offer for a huge part of that game. But nonetheless, that is enough about game number one. We have already broken that down for you guys. It's now about game number two. What we're going to get, what new champions will be taken away. The Ornn Ezreal and Aphelios taken away from 100 Thief next, as they are now on the blue side. And well, now for red side, it will be the Syndra, the Set, and Varus that are going to be taken off the table here very early for us.
Yeah, now is the time to really dig in and see how Simplicity react to the first game. Obviously, a tough pill to swallow, pretty big one as well. But now they're going to be opting for basically just taking away all of the powerful picks that you don't want to see into the hands of 100 next. They're going to take away the Syndra, just a champion that you can blindly pick very early on into the mid lane. That's going to give you so many options. Going to be shoving out the waves constantly and affecting some of those other parts on the map. Big mid-game spike. Not going to happen this time around. More interesting on 100 next on this side. They're going to take away the Aphelios. They're going to take away the Ornn. And the first pick actually is going to be the Kalista. So very early on, you're thinking kill lane into the bot lane. And we're going to see a very different shade of 100 next bot lane, the Otto and Young duo, than we saw last game.
Yeah, and Otto ended up playing that Maokai, and I think it worked out and complemented what they were looking to do fairly well. They had obviously got themselves to Senna playing in that AD carry role, which means that there was a bit of a backseat for the most part down in towards that bot side. We are getting confirmation that Karma, that did just get locked in on your screen, is actually a Kindred. So the Kindred, more or less, a takeaway here from Ken V in particular, and Simplicity Esports now going to try their hand with the AD carry in the jungle.
That's actually, man, oh man. Actually, now that there's a Kindred possibly aside from it, I'm a bit at a loss here. Okay, that makes more sense. The Kindred taken away. I mean, that's a classic move that we see all the time. Visions. I don't expect to see it at sort of this level. Usually, when there's a problem, some teams sort of take a different approach. Like, let's say there's a snowballing top laner. They don't take away that top laner that found success last game. They actually just early on pick maybe an aggressive jungler, and they wait for last pick to be able to counter a top laner. Maybe they have different answers. This is just flat out, I do not want to see you with the Kindred. I could not find a ban for it, so I am just going to rob that from you.
Yeah, they will now grab themselves the Zoe in towards the mid lane. So very early pick into the mid lane, which I really like, because you have to assume Simplicity Esports is going to be looking to try and save that last pick towards the mid laner here for Sudsy. And well, we have talked about the Nocturne. You might think that this could go in towards the jungle, but it's very likely could just go right in towards the mid lane here for us if it does get locked in. Of course, Ken V is going to be on his signature pick and grab that Lee Sin, and I imagine he's going to be just as proactive in this early game as he was in the last.
No kidding. Alongside the Zoe as well. It's like the pick potential is marvelous here coming in. 100 next, giving themselves the tools once again. And this does speak to another possibly fantastic early game for 100 next to secure for themselves. You give yourself the Lee Sin, a champ that can shut down just as hard as if you had a Kindred with an early lead. We'll see if the buff advantage is given once again to 100 next. It really is such a surprise, but at the same time, you got to give it up to 100 next that they constantly find such fantastic early games. It is the Nocturne, like you said, that's going to be flexible, but Simplicity Esports, they certainly do have to sort of take out all the stops and really bring something special to this pick advantage if they want an advantage going into the next.
I do believe that first ban here from Simplicity, if I am hearing right in the background here, Taric ban, if I'm not mistaken. So will be taken away off the table, followed by some 80 carry pinching now playing in towards the pool for 100 Thief next. They already have their Callisto, so now they want to try to eliminate some of the counter picks that might be able to disrupt what this champion wants to do down in towards that bot side and build the lead and be aggressive as she can be. And well, Ashe is certainly one of those with the long extended range, can set up the arrow, so not even going to worry about that one and going to eliminate it right away. Response, Nautilus not going to allow Engage to try and complement the Nocturne that wants to dive in. There's already a lot of shielding that has been at least locked in for the side of Simplicity Esports. And now with the final pick coming, and I imagine some follow-up is most certainly going to be some more damage that plays in, but they do need to get themselves some kind of front line for themselves here, Switch, and some kind of tank that can maybe still set up and allow this Nocturne to be able to follow up plays.
Yeah, you're going to want just clean collapses. You know, you have the sort of trigger with the Nocturne, you have the facilitators as well with the shields coming through from the Karma and the Lulu. Now you just need some of those final finishing touches, someone to go alongside the Nocturne, or even pack some extra firepower for the Engage. That's going to be the misfortune taken, and this presents a problem if executed correctly for Simplicity Esports. You use the Paranoia, you also put down the bullet time, and it's like you're asking 100 Thieves to do two things at once. They have to dive and they have to cancel the bullet time and sort of take away this misfortune. But at the same time, they're getting dove themselves, so it's a big task. 100 next, going with the spice to round out the night. There you go. Classic duo, Blitzcrank and Callista. And I want to see that dark technology, man. When you pull and you get the ultimate from Callista at the same time, it's so dirty.
It is actually disgusting, and I mean, Blitz, I think, just somehow just fits like a glove for this 100 Thieves Next squad, where it's just going to work so well into what they want to do, setting up picks, trying to enable their carries for success. I mean, that's basically the composition that they have put together. They will round out their final pick in towards the top lane with an Aatrox to be able to maybe try to bully out the top laner. Tenacity, of course, maybe a little bit more in his comfort zone this time around as he finds himself on a carry pick. Won't have to worry about being on Karma and shield duty, but Simplicity Esports now narrowing down and trying to figure out what they want to put in the top side. And well, the Mordekaiser worked out pretty well last game there, Switch. They did build a bit of a lead, was unable to carry. This time around could be a different story.
Yeah, certainly going to be a different story this time around, as the matchup, it does seem more even. You typically see the Mordekaiser versus Aatrox matchup, and that really does come down to, hey, where's your jungler at? You know, are they helping you set up, or are they giving you good enough vision to feel comfortable going for some of these engages? You just have to sort of respect Brown Man Darius for going back to the playstyle that works for him time and time again. This is the characteristics that you see from Simplicity Esports. They sort of do have to play to their strengths. Props to 100 Next for getting rid of some of those safer top laners, like the Mordekaiser, like the Darius from Brown Man Darius himself. And now that he's left onto the Mordekaiser, you really just want to see a different story in the top side of the map for Simplicity. Maybe get Panda with an easier early game and start taking some visits over. Start bringing Sudsy as well, because you know Sudsy is someone who, with the Paranoia now, can have a big influence around the map.
That's it. That's just a massive ultimate range that you can look to really try to set up maybe some potential dives that can break in towards the bot lane, even in towards the top side, where you can maybe look to set up this Mordekaiser with that initial ultimate, pull a player in towards the Death Realm, and then follow that up there with the Nocturne. There's definitely a lot of combinations that they might be able to kind of pull out here for us in towards this game number 2. And I do think that Panda, at least for me, is the big player that I need to see kind of bounce back from that game number 1. He was obviously outmatched as soon as he lost that 2v2. He was getting bullied out of his jungle. You know, there was a point in time where it was just, a 2-level difference very early on. He got pushed all the way to his base by the tier 3 in the mid lane from Ken V, who was just running him down and pushing him out. I mean, that is never a situation that any jungler obviously wants to be in. So this is kind of his revenge game, because this is a pretty hype matchup between both of these carry junglers. Both of them have the ability to be able to carry themselves, can take off when they get a lead, and that's exactly what we saw Ken V do. But he's back on towards his Lee Sin. Won't be as consistent with the DPS per se, but very likely going to be a factor that's going to look to set up these plays, try to initiate some of these fights. And I mean, what else to do it other than trying to combine this with some of your solo laners here? That's going to be the big factor, and either one of them have shown that they're able to carry. I mean, just about every single player on this team, let's be honest, which has the ability to be able to carry. It's really wherever they want to funnel their resources into heading in towards this game number 2.
Yeah, it's so difficult, man. 100 Next. They have flexibility to play through whatever, because sort of on paper it looks like they're just so well versed. It's not like they're sticking to what's comfortable. They've clearly swapped up the bot lane dynamic entirely. They've gone with different mid jungle duo as well. They don't have to rely on one playstyle, while on the other hand, Simplicity Esports, they are playing to their strengths here once again. And I actually like some of the things that Simplicity Esports have grabbed for themselves, just from a fundamental point of view. Like if you theorize about it, I love Paranoia as a reaction, because you know 100x is going to bring a certain amount of aggression in the early game, especially in your own jungle. You bring Paranoia, and there's an option to sort of turn around what could have been something given over to 100x. Same thing with Brown Man Darius as well. Assuming he can get rolling, I think you take one piece of the equation out of 100x and you could really throw them for a loop.
We'll see if that happens as we take a look at all the runes across the board. Nothing super out of the ordinary. Sudsy, the player to watch, the melee AD mid laner, loves to play these types of champions. And we'll see if he can try to be the one that shuts down Copy, build up a lead, look to use some of that lane pressure and translate that in towards the silence. So that's going to be the big factor. Have to watch for Ken Vito. Also going to be a pretty big important factor for setting up vision here and tracking this Nocturne to make sure he's not allowed to do those type of things. But when we do get towards those team fight stages, the Lulu is going to be able to provide so much utility for someone like Panda, someone like King Vex, these 80 carries that thrive off of having an enchanter on towards their team. Could very likely be what, again, they need to be able to try and get themselves a big win. And well, it's obviously going to be a big upset. 100 Thieves next. Still, he had to lose an entire game in this season here so far. But heading in towards week 2, this will be the very last game, at least for us on the night, ladies and gentlemen. 100 Thieves next, currently up 1-0 in this best of 2, trying to collect another big 3 points from that 2-0. But Simplicity, they're the ones trying to see if they can be the difference maker and shut down these juggernauts.
30 seconds until minions spawn.
Here we go with the bundle once again. Simplicity hoping to get lucky tonight, but unfortunately it's the other side of the map. Not seeing a lot of activity. 100 next, just going for some early invades. They had the Blitzcrank as well, so you get a bit of favor in that level 1. You pull someone back, and that is a recipe for success, but not this time around.
Yeah, trying to set up for the level 1. Have to try to get that cheeky play off the start of the game, as something they did last game, of course, as well, just on the opposing side when they were on blue side itself, just unable to get the hopeful invade that they might be just waiting for themselves. But watching for Panda, the pathing in the early game, we've seen Kindred a couple of times so far on the night, and it's been very ruthless, very effective, and most effective in that last game, where I think Joe had said at one point, what was it, Switch? 16 stacks, I think that was collected, which I don't even want to think about how much damage that was, but let's just say a lot. It was a lot of damage, big damage for sure. And we'll see if Panda can try to get himself the bounce back game he wants to be able to have, show that he can go toe to toe here with Ken V on this Lee Sin.
Been an eye on the jungle right now, as well as that mid lane, but no lanes you can disregard for the 100 next. They've got themselves quite the kill lane. And I think you look at Lulu, and that is prey. That is ripe for the picking right there. You get one good hook going for yourself, and that could really screw up the early game for this bot lane. A Lulu with no sums is as vulnerable as it gets. As well, the misfortune lacking the mobility. It looks like the early game in terms of jungle pathing, is going smooth. So as good as you can ask for right now with Simplicity.
Now, watching the tracking, there is a very early ward that was placed down just to make sure that no one did go for that invade. Ken V already going to go for the very fast level of 3, something I'm a very big fan of. You just go from buff to buff into Gromp. Adam automatically gives you that level 3 and makes you so much more lethal, and that's what Lee Sin's looking to do in the early stages of the game. Wants to be effective very early to create plays, snowball, and get ahead. And won't grab himself the wolf camp at the very least before he looks to transition in towards this crab, or even in towards the top lane. This can be matched. There has been a ward that's been placed down, so they do know at least no one has been waiting and no one has crossed by, and Panda is already chunked down to about 35% health or so. And Kennedy's going to come say hello, see if he can try to spot things out. Realizes that the golems have been taken away and are gone, and that's some crucial information already given over here to 100 Thieves next.
Yeah, and a bit of time expended can be not gonna get anything good out of that. Rift Scuttle is available though, so it's not all bad. And right now, it's once again smooth sailing for Simplicity here. They're just enduring this early game. I think when you talk about level 6 spikes, this is when you can get excited for Simplicity. But 100 next, they might have a blow before
Oh, Copy might end up going down the flash, but the Drowsy and the bubble is there, so the
Okay.
fear cannot be followed up on. And Kenvi, well, he strikes once again in the mid lane for first blood.
And can you really ask anything more right now? Sudsy playing to his strengths, playing this Nocturne in the mid lane, his pocket pick. But it's just going to put him in a bad situation here very early on. Great from Kenvi with the pathing, able to take good win off of that. And already you've got an assist into the hands of Copy. You've got a kill into the hands of Kenvi, and he might even go for a bit more. Oh, man.
He's going to pull the... Oh, man, that Sonic Wave lands. That's a totally different story. That's likely a flash that gets expended there from Brown Mandarius. It just falls short. And that will be at least Brown Mandarius getting a saving grace, and a Guardian Angel sits on his shoulder, makes it out safe and sound. While that happens, we see Panda make his presence known in the bot side of the map as he goes for the Golem. So he gets double Golems here on his very first back. That's going to put him just a little bit ahead in the XP department. Going to have a very nice first back here as well. Getting a couple of, or rather one long sword here, and getting at least that skirmisher so we can look to go toe-to-toe against Ken V if he continues to go in towards some of these aggressive trades. He, of course, getting that first blood will put him at least slightly ahead as he's looking to clear things out and deny this mark that's populated here on the Gromp.
This is, right now, the top players going blow for blow. Tenacity going to be sliding on out there. The Mordecai's are taking the best of it. And Kenvi's here, but will Panda arrive in time?
That will be the question. It could be matched. The shield is not even going to be out. Might not have been up. Panda, once again, struggling to match Kenvi's pressure in the early stages of the game, as he has already found 2 successful plays before 6 minutes.
Yeah, this is just Kenvi sort of taking his pick at what lane he wants to affect right now. It's what you get from the Lee Sin, and right now for Panda, it's just no obvious lanes to gank inside. I think that's the biggest problem. Wanted to, if anything, gank top lane this game, but Kenvi was always there, always beating him to the punch mid lane. It's never anything for the Nocturne to really roll with before level 6. Now hitting level 6. Even the bot lane, this is just Misfortune and Lulu trying to chill, waiting to play the team fight as a whole, but unfortunately, it's just 100 next, taking what's theirs.
Sudsy comes down as he knows the wave is actually pushing up, maybe expecting Otto to go a bit aggressive with the hook. But nice discipline from Otto, one of the veteran players, of course, that comes from CLG Academy with the role swap. Has the good information and the good veteranship to know that he doesn't need to force a play in that situation until Sudsy does show himself on the map once again. And now there's still a chance to go for a hook play if they so wish. While that happens, it's just going to move right over towards the Dragon, where this should just be a pretty easy pickup. He did this very much in the last game on the Kindred, does it once again on the Lee Sin, and he's going to grab his team the very first neutral objective.
Best part, I mean, you've got this Kalista Blitzcrank constantly pushing, constantly gain priority just because of the dynamic of the duo. And now Kennedy here preying upon Sudsy. That's an easy kill over.
Duo is so good, but in the bot lane, I'm trying to get himself out of a rock in a hard place. Ken Vex, or rather, will grab that kill as Otto forced the flash over the wall, but King Vex wants to. Will there be enough for the tank? He does find the knockup. Will there be a trade? The Otto is not enough. And Otto himself finds the outplay as King Vex is shaking his head on the gray screen.
That is tragic, man. How tilted if you have that happen to you. Solo queue, big tilt. And that could have been the 2 for 0, but unfortunately, Simplicity, one step forward, another step back.
That is tough scenes for sure. 4-1 for as far as the kills. And we'll get a replay of that one. And it starts off great. It does start off great. They're just going for, some of the honey fruit. King Vex is in a great position. Panda's also coming down for the pinch, so there was just basically nowhere to go. And he grabs that first kill, and this is where things so unfortunate. The knockup Otto is just not enough. How much HP? He must have been single-digit HP, but hold that thought, because we got to play in the mid lane. Copy. He gets caught a little bit too aggressive here. They finally make use of that paranoia, and they do get something back on the map, and that's the first kill on the board for Sudsy.
There you go. Austin, get used to it. That paranoia is going to be a good tool, but so is the hook.
They're looking for Sudsy. Once again, he does get the wild growth, but he is being left from his support as everybody is going to collapse on him as much as he grabs his very first kill of the game. Doesn't last too long, and now we'll take a replay on how all of that just went down for him.
Yeah, beautiful paranoia. I mean, just instant kill. You get the fear. Great job from Sudsy to keep the tether going, but this is going to be a little delayed on the actual kick play, but it's exactly what you need. Yun able to get the last rend to apply the slow, and that is an easy kill. This is once again 100 next. They're so good at conducting some of these plays and knowing exactly how to execute it as well. Can be like, you look at that play on the surface and you're like, do I need to expend flash kick? Kenvi has the smarts to know that, yes, this will absolutely seal the kill. The play don't stop. Beautiful hook onto the Lulu.
Looking for more as they look to chase down 100 Thieves next. Sudsy follows it up as he flashes aggressively. Otto is going to be the first one down, and Panda will claim his life. Yun trying to get under the tower. Oh, that was close. Might have been enough to put the final nail in the coffin there for another kill. But this will actually force 100 Thieves off of the Rift Herald that looked to be theirs pretty favorably. While all that happens, Copy will look to collect some plating and chip away at this bot lane tower. But if you can make better use of this Rift Herald here coming up the next couple of minutes and work for some of this plating, that's still going to be active for 2 more minutes. I mean, you could most certainly look to come ahead here in this trade.
Absolutely. Right now, it's just Siege's coming through. Simplicity trying to conduct a play of their own here in Tenacity. Man, oh man. Some of these players on 100 next are just really big brain when it comes down to it. Obviously, the vision helping 100 next so much when it comes to figuring out what the play is for Simplicity and just reacting accordingly. A lot dedicated to the top side, but it's actually 2 lanes being sieged right now for 100 next. It's the mid and the bot lane.
This time around, at least that first tower gold is given over towards Simplicity. Don't even think there will be a second charge. Mordekaiser trying to guide up Shelly to provide a second charge, but Tenacity is now there. And there's some plates that go over, but the goal lead now favoring Simplicity just slightly after that big play. And the all-in coming in towards the top side. As Tenacity is feeling like he's tickling big brown man Darius at the moment, but Ken V is here. Could look to save this kick for the big play. The heals are out. Panda looking to match the 2v2. The shield is still available, so Tenacity, he has to back himself away completely. 2v2-1 from the top laner in the jungle, as they actually will force back the big duo of 100 Thieves next. And now King Vex almost eats the bubble, but he's caught. He has to walk around. He's forced to heal out. Copy looking for the autos. The Ignite ticking down. That will be the final nail. And now Copy grabs the heal, but that should be his death. And it is. So King Vex will at the very least grab the 1-for-1, but boy, oh boy, was that close.
100 Thieves, smooth criminal, almost getting out, but gets caught in the act. Copy taken down. That's the 1-for-1, but you think about what could have been, and really when it comes to style points, 100 Thieves are bringing it to the party right now. Sudsy and crew rotating over to the dragon. This is the tempo advantage that they need for themselves to buy themselves some of these early dragons. You get 1-2 dragons away from 100 next, and you basically buy yourself an extra 10 minutes. This time, extra 5 minutes. Simplicity, they get the mountain as well. And once again, when it comes to team fights, this is nothing to scoff at, really. Paranoia into the wild growth coming out from Lulu. That's a beautiful combo to have. Copy. This play here, Visions, it's just like
almost heartbreaking. It's like King Vex presses forward, could have walked himself out, honestly, and then Copy able to grab him. He didn't even have to go in for it either.
Yeah,
he simply actually had it with the last Ignite tick, so that's unfortunate. I actually thought it was the auto that had gotten and secured the job on finding the kill, but he was dead either way. So King Vex actually able to get the most fortunate play out of that one, as he's able to take the flash off of Copy, who's not going to have this. And this will be Ken B. He's a little bit too aggressive. Will be forced to use the ward hop. Panda forces him out as he's in a much better position this time around in game number 2, where he's actually able to go toe-to-toe with Ken B with the help of his team right behind him. However, it is going to be 100 Thieves next, still holding on towards this marginal gold lead here just by about 600 gold. That's going to extend a little bit more as the bot lane is looking to convert on this tower, and this will be the first tower, I believe, given over. They're hesitating on whether or not they should go for it, and that will be the call. They do move up for it now to secure it and walk away, as they're going to extend that goal lead just a little bit further.
Local goal given over to Yun on the Callista. I think things are starting to really build up for 100 next. They're staring at that 1,500 gold lead. And now is really the time to start asking, what's the perfect setup for Simplicity if they want to succeed in team fights? They've got the tools to do it, but it all comes down to how's the collapse going? What's your targeting here? And are you able to take out some of these fundamental pieces that can lead to a teamfight victory for themselves? I think if you're aiming for anyone right now, it's Yun on the Callista. This is a pick that if you CC her, she's insanely vulnerable. She has very little range when it comes down to it. No escapes, just leaps. Let's see right now. There is a storm of brewing around him, but actually the hook putting auto into vision, so it might just get sniffed out.
As Sudsy backs away, he does not realize how close he was to death there. There was any kind of just a slight movement, walking into the river, walking up to the lane too far. He very much is likely a dead Nocturne. And at the moment, we're just seeing 100 Thieves not be as proactive in that in this game compared to that last game, because they don't have that same brute force lead that they had built up for themselves. That was pretty much just on towards Ken V. And there's a big contest point now on towards the map where you're seeing at least King Vex. He's got his very first item locked in for himself, as well as Sudsy. He picks up the Black Cleaver, so you're most certainly in a pretty decent spot, as we'll see them now even contest some of this vision, clear it out. And this is just looking like, honestly, a totally different team here for Simplicity. It's an absolute difference maker when you're not the one trailing here by thousands of gold in towards the early stages of the game switch.
And I give props to them for being so down when it comes to that last game. For basically 100 next doing whatever they want when it came to the team fighting stage. This time around, not only is their mental completely preserved, it feels like, because they're functioning just fine, but also they've drafted themselves a composition that they're, I bet you, comfortable with, right? Nocturne into the mid lane. You get a pretty standard bot lane. You get Panda on a Kindred, a proactive jungler, and finally Groundman Darius on a top laner that functions very much like a bruiser that can carry when given the right situation. When it comes to team fights, this could actually come through for Simplicity. It's up to 100 next. Make sure they keep grip of this game.
Watch for auto. That
Here we go.
Be the full time that comes out for the Paranoia following it up. That's a big kick to make sure the mid laner stays up and alive. But the Lamper's fight is down, so no one will fall on the side of Simplicity. And now going into the back line, this will be the 80 carry down. This might just be everybody down. Tenacity and Ken V, the duo that will have to walk themselves out, but a great response play in the middle of the lane for the side of Simplicity, as now they're looking to even go for more.
There you go. Big blow onto 100 next right there. I can't tell you how many times 100 next have just grouped mid and not been punished for it. They just get tower damage off it. Not this time, as the collapse did come through. The comp working like a charm, and Simplicity with new life breathed into them. Kenvy's got other plans.
Kenzie has other plans. Tenacity, though, he's been polymorphed. He flashes in, but he will not be able to get that last Q off. So it uses the summoner and does not get anything in return. A Rift Herald is secured and goes over, as Panda is just soloing that all by himself. Otto gonna pull the Mordekaiser in, and this could be a big pick, and it is. Copy follows it up with a nice paddle star. Now looking to see if he can follow up a second paddle star. That's some Zoe damage right there. So they try to move in for the dragon, but it's a little bit too greedy on their part, so they will now concede this, and they might concede another kill as Otto gets put right into the mix. King Vex is on the run, but Jan is going to come right in and clean this one out without a problem. So as much as Simplicity finds some success on the map and find a break or game-breaking play in the middle of the lane, it does not result in much enforcement, just the Rift Herald. The dragon now goes over, as well as 3 kills.
Yeah, dead on, Austin. Just as you start to feel good for Simplicity, it all seems to come crashing down almost in the same fashion. 100 Thieves sort of fell apart, where you see 3 kills just going down for no reason. Let's take a look at the good from Simplicity, then we'll take it with the bad, right? You don't want to have too much of a bitter taste in your mouth. This is such a phenomenal collapse, you know, and this is something that's reproducible as well for Simplicity. Beautifully executed, utilize things like the teleport, like the paranoia wild growth to buy some time, and then it gets a bit sour, doesn't it?
Let's get a bit sour from here, and he is forced into the polymorph, and maybe he feels like he has to try and turn things around, and maybe if he gets that Q off, it's a complete pop-off for him, right? It is hard to say, but this is where things completely turn around. The hook from Otto sets up this entire fight absolutely beautifully, followed up by Copy hitting back-to-back paddle stars with a nice sleepy trouble bubble, and then they just throw Otto in there, and King Vex is like, man, please let me go. Get me out of here, but he's taken down. Shutdown comes through, and this is where things completely turn around. So this gold lead has really been bouncing back and forth, but 100 Thieves next will be in control of it here for now, just by about 1,000 gold. 2 elemental dragons for them, and now all this pressure starting to be absorbed in towards this top side. We got that Baron that's going to be coming up here in 40 seconds, and that's exactly what both of these teams are going to start to look and eye up.
All right, now you're seeing a lot of gold piling on into the mid jungle duo for 100 next. Copy and Kenby. We talked about that pick potential, and it is very much coming to fruition right here. Those 2 picks starting the ball rolling for 100 next. Now it's their time to really keep searching for some of those proactive plays, keep the gas rolling for themselves. Simplicity waiting around as well. It's just a game of who gets the better. There's the kick.
There is the kick, but he pops the paranoia and goes right back onto Ken V. And now Ken V surely will go down, and he will. But Otto is able to deal with the Kindred and takes him out. Tenacity over the wall does escape, but Otto decides to go over the wall himself as they're looking for Sudsy. Sudsy's down, but the bull time is massive as it takes down the 80 carry. Otto looks like he's the next one to follow, and he is. And now Tenacity, will he look to turn for the 1v2, or will he walk out? He's definitely playing with fire, but this one will result in a 3-4-2 swinging in favor of Simplicity.
Oh, and this is the last game of the night, but Simplicity still keeping up the focus. They sniff out the play, they react to it in time, and even looking for a bit more at the end of it. Simplicity just going blow for blow with 100 next, a team that's slated sort of to go really the distance in some of these playoffs, in the scouting ground circuit in general. But right now you're seeing beauty from the team formerly known as Full Spectrum.
Wild ride it's been, and well, what a wild ride it would be if you're able to take down the undefeated team in week number 2, rebranding yourself over to Simplicity. I mean, what a statement, what a great look. I mean, I'm sure the org would absolutely be, fine with that one there, Switch. It's like, all right, we're feeling good. Rebrand comes through, we take a win off the #1 team here at the moment for challenges Uprising. You put yourself in a great spot, and talking about great spots, that Rift Herald is used, and it is enough to be able to take down that tower. Now securing tower number 3 brings things to even across the board. Not a whole lot of objectives to play for at the moment, but we do have that Infernal Dragon. Will be coming up in about a minute 15. That's one that both of these squads are once again looking to fight over. 100 Thieves next, leading the charge in the Elementals 2-1. They grab this one away from grabbing that Infernal Soul Dragon. Put yourself in a great spot for adding so much additional damage stats here in towards the mix, and now you'll see them start to move in and fight for some of this vision.
And speaking of vision right here, look at this cheeky play started. I mean, you can tell 100 next understand their win condition. They completely comprehended it. Game 1, game 2, they're playing to what their comp gives them favor for. This time around, though, I gotta play devil's advocate, Austin. This could be a game where 100 next do suffer a bit in the scaling department. You look at the Lee Sin, you look at the Callista as well, and these are 2 picks that don't age well. I think if you want to win the game, getting some of these dragons is going to be vital, but it's a play around the mid lane, actually, that's going to start us off here. 100 next, gaining a lot of space. They got the inside track around the dragon. Question is, are they going to be able to secure it? This could be so valuable for themselves.
Yeah, and you no longer have the Dragon's Rage in this fight. Kenvi expended it as he did get polymorph, so maybe looking to get behind the Kindred to be able to pop him right in. But they are nonetheless, they're going to start up the dragon. This will be contested. Panda about half health, but could get in towards the pit. A bit of damage is going to move in, but it's secured by Kenji, and now he's going to land for a spite as he tries to kite this one out. He gets hit by the Sleepy Chubble Bubble, and he is taken down. Sudsy in towards the back line, trying to find a big kill for himself, as everybody else will simply kite away. But it's going to be Brown Man Darius left in the river all alone and isolated, and this will be the third dragon secured for 100x, as well as 2 kills for the consolation prize.
Just like that, you know, you look at the setup of that dragon fight and you're saying to yourself, this is Simplicity's best chance of securing themselves a promising future. But it's just 100x when it comes down to execution. It didn't matter about a gold lead, and now they're even going towards this Baron. Let's see if Simplicity can actually push them off. This is 24 minutes in, and there's the kick.
There's the kick. King Vex is out of the fight, taken away here from Yan as they're looking for more. Sudsy just barely able to escape the Sleepy Chubble Bubble, but he will not escape the Paddle Star. And Tenacity now will hunt down this poor Lulu as he tries to break some ankles. Might try to get a reset off at the very least, but Tenacity, he'll sniff him out and pops the polymorph. Might go for a bit of a run, but have to assume this will be a kill. And well, it should be at the very least. I do hope so. No, that's Tenacity is playing his own little mini game here as the Lulu is going to actually try to escape while that happens. The Baron is being started. She pops the Wild Growth. He's still trying to chase her down with the ultimate switch, but I don't see a world where that kill goes through anymore, and he is out. But look at this. There is actually Panda that's in towards the mix. Copy is his job to try and zone away, and it looks like he will. He's not going to be able to get in towards the pit. Kenji finds the secure on towards the epic objective, grabs the Baron for his squad, and now they will all reset and spend their gold and get right back out on the map.
Ooh-wee, and all it took was a bit of a merry-go-round for Lutano, and that just about bought enough time for 100 next to feel comfortable. They didn't even have that big of a gold lead, but they were just on it. They came with commitment. They came with the intentions of bringing everything they had, minus Tenacity, who, by the way, was sitting on teleport, so he very well could have been there to the fight. And this is just a case where Simplicity, maybe at this point in the game, they were caught with their pants down. I think there is a universe where you can test that, and maybe it comes out pretty okay for Simplicity, but not this time around.
Paranoia looking for the backline. Callista kites it out as the Lamb's Respite is used perfectly just about every single time at the start of the fight. But look who's in now. Tenacity looking for the kills, and he does grab the very first one, followed by a nice kill right on towards the Kindred. Brown Man Darius might find a trade, but his team is just simply falling to pieces, and Kenji is out. The hook is great for Auto, and that will be 100 Thieves next, winning a perfect fight. Nobody will drop, nobody will die, and now with the Baron still active, they will press their advantage down the mid lane.
How do they keep doing it, Austin? I don't know. They just keep dodging, dipping, and diving, and not dying at the end of the day. Inhibitor tower broken down, base in shambles here in the mid lane, and 100 next, man. It was a very different early game, but it's the same product.
What a tough one for Simplicity. They lose the Baron, and now everything slowly going downhill. We talked about the scale factor is still a factor, but I'm not sure if 100x will allow them to get there. And now we'll take another look at this replay.
Yeah, pay attention to how, first of all, Sudsy never has enough damage, which is quite unfortunate and a product of the early game. But look at how BMD is constantly kited out. Even if you get a replay of the previous Dragon fight, he's just being outplayed at some points of the game. Can be showcased in some of those Lee Sin mobility tricks. But last Dragon fight, Sleepy Trouble Bubble was the bane for Brown Man Darius. He just cannot get enough done for his team. Neither can the rest. The comp looks good on paper, but if you don't have the firepower to back it up, if you can't get some of those initial kills for someone like Sudsy on the Nocturne, you really are just a glorified diving minion at that point in the game. You don't bring enough consistency, and we might just get right back into it. I'm gonna get deja vu.
Oh, once again, Panda is going to use Lamb's Respite, but he gets hit by the Sleepy Chubble Bubble, now followed by the ultimate Paranoia, all being used at once. But it's going to be Tenacity in the backline while the double kill is already been collected from Kenji. This might just be the end for the side of Simplicity as they drop like flies. That will be it The Aces here once again, 27 minutes and 45 seconds into game number 2. There is a reason they are undefeated, ladies and gentlemen, and that reason was just displayed on your screen as they are looking to end the game. They're looking to close at another hot 2-0, and man, who will be able to fight and go toe-to-toe against these juggernauts?
Yeah, and if this doesn't sort of tip the scale for what your predictions are coming into the playoffs, I don't know what is. 100 Thieves, you can't script it any better. Joe having fun with the spectators. And man, that last team fight, you know, if you thought Simplicity couldn't get anything, that was really the nail in the coffin mentally. Shut out of this game. 100 next, shut them out of the series. And they once again take another 2-0. They are perfect coming into week 3 of the next week.
Oh, week 2 looking just as good as they did in week number 1, if not better. But what a fantastic series here from 100 Thieves next, where it just seemed like there was, just so many moments where every player had their chance to be able to step up and go big. The first game, it's Ken V really dictating the pacing and just taking over the game and with the Kindred. The next game, it's Otto setting up the plays, also seeing some great play from Copy, who's blowing people up with that paddle star there time and time again, and everybody really contributing to the success built in toward this roster. There was a reason that they were put together. There was a reason 100 Thieves were looking to invest into some of the amateur players here within the scene, and that's because there was a good amount of them that have so much talent, and they have combined 5 that really have that next level talent. It's been shown so many weeks here in towards the mix across multiple different leagues, and well, you get to see it. But what a fantastic series that we just got to see here across both of the series, really, in these best of 2s. There were some barn burners, there were some close games, there were some pentakills. I mean, just about everything you could ask for, Jordan.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a heck of a week here at Challengers Uprising. A view into the damage, and this time the showcase is the mid lane for the side of 100 next. Copy coming out with proactive plays, playing right alongside Kenvi, and I mean, both games, Austin, very different, but you just get to showcase a bit more diversity for 100 next. They seem so well-rounded. They don't have to play throughout one lane. When you talk about jungles, they have one of the most promising in the circuit, and I think if you're not hedging your bets on 100 next, I think you got to really take another fresh look at them because they look unstoppable.
Unstoppable, great. There's just a whole mix of words that you could really use and throw right in there for how good this team is looking and how dominant they have been throughout this regular season. You take a look at those charts, and well, the paddle stars really were paying off for them there. Tenacity also, maybe the one that wasn't necessarily the highlight player across the roster, but still did his job, played the karma in game number 1 and put up a good amount of damage stats here in this game number 2. Simplicity, not enough in the tank to be able to take down 100 Thieves next. Tough scenes for them, but there is always a chance to try and regain and get yourself back up to par. But ladies and gentlemen, it's been a pleasure to come back and cast League of Legends for you. I'm sure I can speak for Switch on this one, but for now, we're going to throw it over towards the analyst desk. How this broken down. Rafa, my man, take it away.
Woo-wee! What an exciting day of games here, Smacks and Cubby. And that last one, I honestly thought that Simplicity had a chance to be able to come back during that mid game. You know, Sudsy on that Nocturne pick was looking a little spicy, and I was hoping to be able to, completely 200 IQ the entire predictions for the day. But unfortunately, you guys got me. I should have trusted in the Papa and 100 Thieves squad for the 2-0 over Simplicity. They will take that 2-0 over Simplicity for the day. But Smacks and Cubby, we got to break down this last game because this Nocturne pick was actually pretty useful during the early parts of that mid-game, Smacks.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. Like, as soon as they locked it in and we saw that it was the Kindred as well, we knew that it wasn't going to be the Nocturne jungle, of course. Shout out to someone who said in the chat, oh, you're just supposed to take Smite on Nocturne. I think it was Rebel Fox. So shout out to Rebel Fox. That was pretty funny. But yeah, it actually is a really cool pick into the Zoe. You have the spell shield for the bubble. You can pretty much always see that coming for the Nocturne. So you just run at her. You spell shield the bubble. and she can't get out of your fear either. If she uses the portal away, she'll just come right back and she'll get feared right there. So it is a really nice pick against the Zoe, and we saw it put to pretty good effect here. Granted, the mid jungle duo of Copy and Kenvi are just so strong, and they did get a few of those early kills onto Sudsy, but that didn't dissuade him too much. We still saw a few of these really nice plays. He tossed his ult in there to throw off the feng shui of 100 Thieves, and he really did get in there and make things kind of difficult for them. So I really liked that pick, just seeing it from the draft and then seeing it in action as well. I think this is one of those champions where, like, I'm really excited to see this kind of adaptation here from Sudsy, who we even said, like, this is exactly what he's, like, really good at. And he comes in, he shows us how it's done here, just cannot pick up the win because 100 next, they're pretty clean, guys.
Yeah, I'm glad that we set them up as the top team in Amateur, and I know they're the top team in Cup because they are sitting at 8-0, 4 series wins, the maximum amount of points that you can have so far. Looking very strong, and yes, they had a couple blips in this game. I think the Nocturne threw a bit of a wrench in the plan. Sudsy, very good melee assassin player in the mid lane for Simplicity, but at the end of the day, Envy, the rest of 100 Thieves Next, just too much, and the angles they were creating in some of these later team fights on the MF, it was beautiful to watch them and how they attacked that immobile pick at the AD role.
Just
it's
really impressive stuff.
Yeah, for that mid lane, because that for people who don't know about Nocturne mid, or who haven't listened to Vedius talk about how it's the greatest thing in the world, Nocturne mid, particularly into Zoe, is a fantastic matchup. But when you have Kenvi on your all the time, preventing you from being able to play out that laning phase, then Copy gets out of that lane scot-free, no harm, no foul, very much similar to the game one. And even here, as we see Copy having a little bit of fun limit testing on the Challengers Uprising stage here. As just from there, we could see how the composition wanted to be executed by the side of Simplicity Esports, which in theory looks great, but when 100 Thieves have just mounted a huge snowball from the get-go, thanks to Kenvi's immaculate pressure, you almost want to, point question marks towards Panda. What was Panda doing this game?
What was Panda doing this series? As it was a much better performance this game for Panda, but keep in mind the last game, that was a serious Kenvi gap, and I think Kenvi gap kind of came through here as well. Watch him dodge out on this BMD's Mordekaiser here in the Death Realm, just getting away from that. Ooh, that's real nice on Lee Sin there. Bummed we didn't get to see Kenvi's Nidalee in this series, but I think he's going to be saving that one for better days. Yeah,
we already got a whole bowl full of the Kenvi Cheerios for the Nidalee last week, so we've already got enough of those highlight clips from last time. His Lee Sin will have to suffice, and it certainly did here. That dodge in the Death Realm was phenomenal. He only dies the one time in this game. That's 2 deaths, I think, so far. Keeping up on those fantasy points here for you, Cubby. And yeah, his series was just completely phenomenal, alongside the rest of his team as well. But yeah, special shout out to Kenvi here for just completely wiping the floor on this Lee Sin and the Kindred before with the pentakill too. Just absolutely stunning day for him.
Yeah, just looking at the damage charts here. I know Kenvi, it's hard to rack up damage on Lee Sin because the ideal playstyle is being able to dart in and out, choosing many fights and skirmishes within the big overall team fight, and that's when the beauty of skill expression comes to a champion like Lee Sin or Nidalee in general. Just being able to have the mobility and understand that you don't just need to bull rush your way into a fight. You have to pick your moments when to shine and when to be able to interact with champions, and that can only be mastered by someone who is very extremely talented and gifted like Kenvi. Now, you mentioned fantasy points, Max, and I did a little bit of point calculating, and I have the final results. As Cubby, as amazing Kenvi was, and I was even considering to give a extra 10 points, just the fact that he got a pentakill. Even with the 10 points, you're still coming in last on today's show
Oh.
because your faith in Exilian and Command Attack were just not well put because so just look at the
I'm depressed.
God. Oh,
We're gonna
Coffee,
sit nice and
it's
short
so
for the rest of the time.
Oh,
Ooh.
just to give you a good understanding, Kenvi, just based on the pentakill from the first game, he got 50.58 points, considering that a pentakill is worth 10 points.
That's a lot.
Because of today. Yeah, that is a lot. However, Exilion in Game 1, respectively, only earned 14.54 points, and Command Attack only earned 14.62 points. And then for Game 2 of their respective series, Kenvi earned 36.58 points. Still a nice number. Exilion only earned 3.68 points, and Command Attack only earned 7.74 points. And that was with a win,
Did I hear a
too.
3?
Yeah,
Oh.
3.88. Unfortunately, that second game for Mirage was not the most impressive and was not the most graceful. Smacks, you did come in second this week.
Oh, we got beat by the host.
Oh.
Yeah.
At least we tied in the predictions.
Ooh.
Yeah, because to Cubby, your point total was 127.94. Smax's was 134.36, and mine was 145.5. And I double checked the numbers. I'm not trying to cheat. I like you guys can see the spreadsheet as
we
well
trust.
on your end. It's just I think a big contributing factor for this was TX and Yon, just putting in overtime on their second games respectively. And just I didn't have strong underperformers because my faith in Robbie Bob, even in the game that Mirage lost, he only
There he
died
is in
once.
the chat too.
And
He's
he had
right
3
there.
kills. Yeah.
But hey, you
So,
countered your own predictions, right? You played the market because you took Robbie Bob, but also you went for the 1-1. So it was kind of a win-win scenario for you.
I
Rafa
spread
just
across.
cornering the market. We're gonna get back to this whole VC thing. Rafa's got the money, is gonna invest in the Analyst now in the future, but he's just gonna keep all the money for himself because obviously he's better than us. So that's fine. That's fine. We'll get you next week,
house
buddy.
always wins, Cubby.
We'll get
The
you
house
next week.
always wins. Yeah. I'm looking forward to the rematch next week. So that it does mean, Cubby, you will be able to start with the first pick on the draft for week 3 of Challengers Uprising. So that will be nice.
Hooray.
Oh man!
If you're listening,
But
Fallen
overall,
Bandit, please don't pick Karma again. I want the points.
Oh
man.
yeah.
Please consider the points of the Analyst desk next time so that you can just help me out, man. Come on.
Unfortunately, Smacks did not hold the critical information that Tenacity was going to be playing a more supportive champion for the first time on here in Challengers Uprising. But to close out this series in general, 100 Thieves next. This almost seems like business as usual, but for Simplicity Esports, Cubby, what are some things that you think that they could work on or take notes from in terms of being able to progress the team strengths and weaknesses?
I like the fact they're playing towards Sudsy's strength, which is playing these exciting melee mid laners, but throw your jungler there. Actually help him get off the ground, because you can see what happened when that pick, it has to overextend to get farm in the lane. Kenvi very smartly punished that pick, helped Zoe kind of survive that lane, and then got ahead. If you're Panda and you gank the Zoe with a Nocturne, that's so free. So I want to see them try to play more through Sudsy. If they're actually going to go for those picks, I know it's a style that Sudsy likes to play as well. It's always tough rating teams to go up against 100 Thieves next, because it does feel like they're head and shoulders above the rest of the competition. But props to them for putting up a nice fight in Game 2, and looking forward to see how they can improve and continue, not only in Cup, but also across SGC, as there are a lot of games still to be played.
Yeah, if I were to give them a little bit of advice, the mid lane meta where that interacts with the jungle meta right now, where you're playing these scaling marksman styles that want to just farm up and then start fighting, that's not that jungle meta doesn't work with what Sudsy wants to do. You want to be playing things like the Jarvan, like the Trundle. The Sejuani is one that is really going to help out if Sudsy is going to be playing these melee characters, because then you get the stack up of the permafrost. You can get in there. You can be the front line for the carry as well. You could be dive buddies. That's really going to be a nice bonus for you guys if you're going to continue playing around Sudsy, which I definitely agree. I think you guys definitely should, because it looks really nice.
Yeah, and just take a note from Shorter Ace's book. Play the Sejuani, play some stuff that's not everyone else is expecting,
Skarner.
right? We do want to shout out the giveaway that we still have going on at Challengers Up. Go ahead, check that out over there. We have the giveaway for the $100 RP gift card. Make sure you go over there and sign up and follow up. We will be closing the giveaway for that pretty soon. But on behalf of the entire Challengers Uprising broadcast staff, production, all the fans, thank you so much for tuning in tonight's broadcast. We'll see you next week.